Hello, hello. Welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Erin and I am joined by Briana.
Hello.
Briana used to work here. I'm trying to think of, how long has it been?
Just a few years back.
Just a few years, yes.
A few years back.
Time flies.
And I'm in and out.
Yes, that's true. That's the great thing. I mean, people don't leave here. That's really how
It's true. We get sucked back in a good way.
People come in, they always want to have a creative project or they're wanting to see what's happening. So
Yeah,
I think,
it's true.
So
I'm longing to be back more. So this is like, I'm dipping my toe, getting started.
Sounds good. Well, it's good to have you.
Thanks. It's fun to be here.
Well, we're on, Linda and Alex are actually in London, so that's why we're hosting Facebook Live today. They are touring London. They're taking classes. Right now they're doing a class with Sarah Campbell in the countryside of England. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, we were all just talking about kind of wishing we were there right now.
I know.
The pictures are looking really nice.
Yes, yes, I know. It does look just inspiring. Sarah Campbell, and she is just inspiring in herself, and just taking a class from her in England. The pictures look amazing. Alex is keeping us up to date on what they're doing, so it just looks beautiful. So next week, maybe we'll go next week.
Oh,
yeah, I think I'm free. Okay,
sounds
good. Well, today we're going to talk about kind of a couple different things. We're going to talk. Actually, first let's talk about So Confident.
Sure.
All right. So if you're keeping up with So Confident, last month we introduced, actually in September, still this month, we introduced the Helix. They both start with H. We introduced the Helix pants, and that was our pants fitting video, was for the month of September. And so we do still have some of these kits available. We have pottery and black and the gray. And then we just introduced a new pattern, and then the new video for October will be coming out soon, but we did start a pre-order on the kits. So this is the new sweater knit version of the Haiku 2. We just put the pattern out. The pattern has two different versions. It has this long version, and then it has a shorter version, which we will show you later in the broadcast. But these kits are available right now for pre-order.
I love this material.
Mm-hmm.
This is
a cotton knit.
It just looks rich. And
see the back?
Yeah, this is a cool sweater knit with the seam across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Haiku 2 is a really fun pattern. It's actually one of our original patterns that we did. The Haiku, then we had another version with the Haiku 2 that came with the long and the short version. And so the kits, we have the gold, and then we have black.
So apparently I have to make one to go with my dress because they are perfect colors with what I'm wearing.
Exactly. I love the teal.
I really like this color.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got like the right amount of nubby texture that makes it more interesting.
Here, let's get a little closer.
Feels
Can you see that,
really
Betsy?
nice.
Yeah, it just has really great texture. I mean, I love fabrics that have just a little bit something extra with texture or print. I think that
feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
Lots you could do with that.
So speaking of fabrics with texture and just a little bit extra going on, we're going to talk about Kantha today. So we started working with Kantha maybe 5 years ago, or trying to think of when we kind of first got some fabrics in that were the Kantha quilts. And I think traditionally you're thinking of Kantha quilts as something that you're going to have in like home dec, is something like I have one on my bed, making pillows or having certain parts in your house that have a Kantha quilt.
Yeah.
But we thought that they would make really great garments. So
absolutely. You have I saw you have like a dop kit, kind of a toiletries case that looks almost like a Kantha cloth too. And I feel like you just see that texture in those things more than fashion. And yeah, we need to change that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we see it across all boards now. You know, So Kantha. So the origin of Kantha is it comes from India, and it's one of the oldest forms of embroidery. And it roughly translates, and I just found this out yesterday, it roughly translates to rags. So it's like vintage fabrics that they're accumulating from different sources, leftover fabrics that they're using to create a quilt. So you put them together, and then you use a running stitch or a Kantha stitch to put the quilts together. And they sometimes have 2 layers, possibly 3 layers of fabric. You were finding in your fabric that you used, it had sometimes 2, sometimes 3.
It was either
throughout the whole
3
thing.
or 4 very threadbare layers. So it just had a little bit of heft to it, but not terribly thick, because you could tell they were kind of worn down to start with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so these originally, these ancient Kantha quilts, they are often used in ceremonial symbols, or they used animals in the quilts, whether it was in the embroidery or whether it was in the prints of the fabrics. And they traditionally used them for births and for weddings. So little fun facts I found out yesterday. But now I think you tend to see them, I mean, they're mixing all kinds of different textures and prints in these Kantha quilts. They're using paisleys and flowers and plaids, and just mixing them all together. And sometimes the colors and the textures are all different, and they put them together in one quilt, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, I love the idea of taking, if you wanted to try and do your own version of it, taking scraps of fabric or pieces that you've loved, and just piecing them together however, and then as simple as the running stitch to hold it all together. It's just a neat, I don't know, kind of a neat scrap saving idea.
Right.
But that sounds like an awful lot of work. So if you have time, great. If not, we've got other options for you.
Definitely, definitely. And another thing that I noticed is, so we got all these Kantha pieces in, and but it really follows things that are going on in fashion too. Like with the mixing prints in the Kantha quilts, and then mixing prints in garments. You're seeing that a lot on the runways. In street style, you're seeing people wearing a printed blouse, maybe a tiny floral blouse with a plaid coat, or bold pants. And so they're mixing all these different prints and plaids and textures all in one ensemble, which I think is really fun. I know I get into kind of a rut, and I want to just throw on my black dress and something simple, and I get dressed quickly, and that's all I can think about in the morning. But it's really fun to think about what more you can do if you kind of have certain pieces, I think, in your wardrobe to pair. So what we thought we'd do today is we would go over some patterns that we thought would be really great in these Kantha quilt fabrics, and then also some really fun just mixing those prints. Because really, if you dive into some of our things in our closet here at the sewing workshop, you can really come up with some interesting pieces that magically go together.
Yes.
Which, I don't know how that happens, but it does. Okay, so let's start with, well, this is a piece that Betsy created, a Chateau, and this is a vintage quilt. So I don't know how many quilts you used here, Betsy. Just one. So just one quilt that she used to put together this Chateau. And what I love is like how interesting the inside of this garment is.
Did you add these pieces? There's there are strips.
Because it was in rough shape. So you can see that I added pieces on the inside to strengthen it, and then it was embroidered.
And then you have like the cute colorful stitches just in an extra pattern out here. That is cool.
Yeah, so Betsy was mentioning that she had to use additional pieces of fabric to strengthen the inside, because part of the quilt, was a vintage quilt. So she had to do some fixing in order to maintain the strength of the fabric. But I think it's a really interesting way to use like older quilts, whether you pick them up at a estate sale or whether you have vintage quilts that you're using from your grandmother. We have a lot of quilts at home that were grandmothers or aunts that had made them. So it has special meaning. So I think that's a great way. And the Chateau is a perfect garment to use.
Yeah, not a lot of extra seams, so it's not as fussy putting it together. You can really use like large pieces and you don't have to cut it apart as much. So you can really focus on the beauty of the fabric you're using.
Well, let's show yours, Briana.
Okay.
Yours is a Chateau.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I love this. I mean, how just striking these colors are.
So this was, it was a blanket from a shop downtown Lawrence, Kansas. And so I really used the borders that already existed and tried to just piece it in as it was. Like, I didn't finish these edges. This is how they were. And you can just see, you know, it's raggedy. There are edges that are really threadbare, kind of coming apart.
Bring it up a little bit.
But I think that that's just kind of the neat. I know there were areas where I would try and retuck it in and stitch. Like I did that to do the collar shaping. And, but yeah, just, you can do, it was just neat because it was both sides were interesting. And even, I know I added, I don't think it has, does it have the pockets? I think I added welt pockets.
Yeah.
But it's not a welt pocket.
Okay, so I added that, but then, and I had to add almost like a cuff around here just to lengthen it. It looked better with a little bit of extra length. But on the back, just things like a patch that were there, you know, covering some old hole. And I just
that was
like
already
how,
on the fabric.
Yeah, it was. So it's just fun to kind of work with the piecing in that way. And I like how Betsy's added that in. I think that's just really cool. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think on traditionally the Kantha, they have the the prints on both sides. You see that a lot, so you can use both sides in that way.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you see solid on the back as well. So another pattern that I think is really great for quilted fabrics, printed fabrics, Kantha quilts. This is the Quincy, and this is, we call it the Quincy topper. It's been lengthened, patch pockets have been added, and it's simplified. There's not any zippers, didn't use any closures or anything, but I think it lends itself to a print. I think it's a great, especially when you lengthen it, then you have just a lot more length to work with.
You've got the full back panel, and this one's fun with some seam details because you can kind of pick and choose how to place everything too. If you've got a bigger blanket that you're working with, or even just the patches, like the Kantha cloth patchwork, like this, kind of putting it together where you like certain colors.
Well, and then underneath is the Cityscapes dress. What I love about this, what I love about black and white is I feel like it can go with so many different things, whether it's a wild abstract print or just a simple stripe. I think you can really pair it with a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that lends itself to the mixing of the prints.
Could someone put that jacket on, please?
Oh, sure. You want to put that on?
Sure. Can you see all of it?
I'm gonna scooch back.
Okay.
And we do have a tutorial that explains how you do that, how you make the Quincy topper. From
How
the
to take
Quincy.
it from, how to do the lengthening
Right.
part. Yeah. I like the low pockets. That always feels, I don't want to say casual. It's just, it has an ease to it instead of having them, you know, like the higher pockets. This just lets you have your arms down lower. And then you just look really fabulous. That's cute.
Yeah, it reminds me of some of the pictures that I've found recently of the pattern mixing with the, plaids and the florals all together. Like this one here, talking about kind of chic casual. This is, a quilted, it looks like a quilted jacket with a printed dress, and it has that casual look that you were talking about, Briana. Just slung over her shoulders, very casual, but she just looks so elegant. I love that.
Can you mention that was the Quincy jacket?
Yes, so that was the Quincy topper, at the floral print. And then I think I have a couple other Quincy's here. just to give you an idea of what you can do with the pattern. So this is the Quincy Jacket straight out of the pattern. So the pattern has the zipper closure, and it's this length here. So this fabric came this way, so it wasn't pieced. And then it's paired with the Memphis dress. Again, kind of wild. I even had to stop for a second and think, well, does this go together?
I know, but I was
think
just
it does.
thinking, I feel like a lot of times with print mixing, it's hard to figure out what works, but there just has to be a through line of some sort. And it's like my eye's drawn to the orange combo. And yeah, this would be not necessarily something I would think to put together, but if I saw that, you know, somebody walking down the street, I would think it was really cool. So it really works.
And I think you have to think about the different size of the prints. You
Yeah.
know, they think they
Yeah.
need to be different sizes, or maybe it's you have a floral on one piece and you have a plaid or a stripe or a polka dot or something on the other. So I think you have to think about the proportions.
Yeah, the proportion is important, or like what you're saying, you know, this one is great because it's so much more, it's just the linear versus kind of the explosion of shapes and textures and things that makes it, your eye isn't competing. Not everything is the same scale. You kind of want to mix with those two things also. Scale or the actual like form of what's decorating the fabric. That's cute.
We have a lot of questions about what you ladies are wearing. So
Oh,
you
okay.
might want to just
Okay, all right. So a lot of
Okay.
questions about what we're wearing.
Okay.
So I am wearing the Tremont, as is. This is a quilted cotton Tremont. And then I paired it with the Bristol dress. So this is just a knee-length dress, traditionally in a knit. And it's also great for pattern mixing because there's a lot of different pieces to the Bristol. So you can make, you can put a certain fabric on the cuff, you can put a certain fabric on the sleeve, you know, on the front. So there's a lot you can do with the Bristol. So I thought it was perfect for this topic.
Yeah, it is cute.
What about you?
Okay,
What are you wearing?
so mine is the Berwick Street tunic, lengthened a lot.
Love it.
I checked this morning, I looked back at my pattern, 18 inches longer was what I did. So I still have the side slits. I don't think I changed the positioning of anything, but I added pockets and just made it really long.
And that has that casual feel you're talking about, but
Yeah.
it's so elegant. I mean, it's a great combination of casual and elegant. I love it.
It's really working for me with the season change because it's lightweight rayon, but it feels, with more coverage, I guess it feels a little bit more fall appropriate.
Right.
But I'm rocking flip-flops with it. They're furry, but you know, we've got
They're furry,
we've
so
got to
it
balance
gets you
out the
into-
season. This is when the seasons look confusing and you get to dress in a confusing way. It's kind of fun. Sweatshirts and shorts. It's fine.
That always astounded me, but
But yeah, this is my latest make.
I love it.
and I really like it as a dress. Yeah.
very cute. So you said 18 inches lengthened?
18 inches is what I
Okay.
added, and I'm
Kind of a
5'8",
midi.
5'9". Yeah, so I
Midi
brought it
length.
down. Yeah, midi's probably right. Not down to my ankle, but I just wanted it long, really long.
Right.
So,
I think it makes it so easy to wear when you have dresses that length.
yeah.
You
Yep.
just throw them on. You don't have to think about it.
Exactly. Exactly true. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Do we talk about all the Quincy's? I think we have one Quincy left here. So this is just, again, this fabric came like this as a quilted piece with navy and gray and brown. I think it's an interesting combination of colors, which is kind of what attracts me to it. Colors that you wouldn't maybe traditionally put together. But this is straight from the pattern, again with the zipper closure. But it's a neat combination, I think. And even the gray has a little bit of a texture to it. The navy has a different stitching pattern to it. I think I love this pattern.
I do too. It's got a nice boxy shape where you can throw it over a dress, because we were talking about kind of the oversized jackets over dresses and seeing that look. And it's nice that a lot of these allow for that. They aren't so nipped in at the sides, so you've got more room to play with your layering combinations.
Right, yeah, you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of the oversized blazers or jackets, whether they're with dresses or whether they're with wide leg pants and blouses. Things seem a little more formal, I guess, in a sense, but yet really fun because they're oversized.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because some of them are what I would consider dress pants, you know, like the full button and like full button fly, but the wider leg gives it that ease so that it's more balanced out. But yeah, and then oversized jackets too.
Right.
Just kind of big blazers, which is fine, but I'm not at a time in my life where I want to sew a blazer.
I just bought one, to be honest.
So the jackets that you don't have to do full lining, a lot nicer to work with.
Right. I think we would be back to fitted blazers before I would actually get that done. So I think.
Yeah, it'll hang on my dress form for a while, sleeveless like this did.
But I think we have a lot of like oversized jackets in our line. So this trend really is a great trend for us. So like the Stafford is an oversized jacket. It has those traditional jean jacket details, but with a more of an A-line shape, a shorter, fuller sleeve, which I think is nice. Again, ease of wearing. And then we paired it with Eureka, which we use the Eureka all the time with everything. If you don't know what to wear a Eureka. It works out with everything. And then this is an E-dress skirt. So the E-dress pattern, there's a section on the pattern where you can just cut it off and make it into an elastic waist skirt. And that's what we did here. So a lot of things going on with the different patterns, 2 different stripes of floral, a textured fabric. But I think it all works. I really like that combination.
Yeah. The stripe with this one, you could be concerned about pattern, but the stripes hardly count.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, stripes are almost, they can be like a neutral when you're putting it with a pattern.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be, that doesn't have to clash in your mind when you're piecing things together.
I think so. Like, again, I was gathering different inspirational pictures, and that's what it seems like. I mean, people are pairing, see if I can find the right one, but people are pairing, the stripes with a dot, but it seems more like a solid, I feel like.
Yeah.
Here's a good example. She's got a little polka dot skirt on, a floral top, floral blouse, and then just more classic coat. But she's mixing, these 2 different patterns. But I feel like the polka dot lends itself to be more of a solid.
Yeah. That one reads as the neutral. Yeah.
What else do we have here? Have we shown? Oh, we haven't shown this yet. So we talked about earlier the Haiku 2. So the Haiku 2 is a new, a re-debut. Basically, we're debuting it again. So I was going through some of the kind of archives of some of our previous makes, and this one popped up. So this is a Haiku 2, the shorter version. So it doesn't have a pocket. Out of this beautiful tweed, and then paired with an E-dress. Again, you got your pattern mixing. You have, I don't know if you can see this, Betsy, we've got the dot at the bottom, both in knit and then the floral, paired with a more kind of conservative fabric, which I think is really fun.
I like that with the tweed look. Yeah, because like you said, that's conservative, so it can look a little bit more stuffy. So it's fun to, play around with it.
And I think having it on a softer jacket, maybe you would traditionally have the blazer or something, but I think with this softer jacket, no collar, I think it gives it a different vibe, which I really like. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this Haiku 2, working with this again, making the cardigan, making it in tweed. We have another beautiful one here. Again, very kind of simple on the texture itself, but I think you could easily pair this with, even the same dress. You could pair, I was kind of in between actually which one I was going to put with it, so I just grabbed them both. So, but I think this is going to be a really fun pattern to mix with a lot of our different, because I think the shorter one lends itself to look good with those wide leg pants, you know, the Valencias, the West Ends, but also with dresses. And so I think there's a lot of room to play with it.
Yeah, that would be really cute with wide leg pants because of the split here. I feel like where that hits and then you get the volume below. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know what I'm making next.
All right, and this is a London. This is a showstopper, definitely. But this is another one where you're piecing. You're adding different prints and textures and this reverse applique piece that Linda did.
You want to bring that closer?
Yeah, this has got a lot of really beautiful parts. You've got the patchwork parts, you've got, what did I notice? Was it on the sleeve? Over here, almost like oh, here we go. Even just this strip as a different piece on top.
There's a lot of layers to this piece, which I think is really fun. And I love how simple the additional pieces are that she appliqued on. I think when you keep it simple like that, I mean, I know there's a lot to this piece, and there's embroidery, and there's a reverse applique and applique, but I think when you keep some of these additional pieces simple, I think you can really play with the layering, which I think is gorgeous. Very stunning.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So I did want to show off a couple other different inspirations that I had. I found a website. Have you heard of Lady Lancaster? Or Lancaster?
I don't think I know that one.
No. So I just thought the photography on this website was just stunning. So these are some beautiful, beautiful quilted jackets. The quilting seems very traditional, but the way that they mixed the different colors, and
I love this one.
I think this one's fantastic. I think it's just really interesting, because they're taking those traditional quilted, that quilt, you know, the look, and they're making it into these oversized jackets and giving it a real modern feel. I think it's I just love the photography. I was really taken by that. And then here's a few other ones that I thought were really interesting. This one goes back to like mixing stripes and using that as a neutral. I love street style. So this one is the stripes with a patterned jacket, which I think is fun. And then the pop of the little, I don't know what that is exactly, some sort of stole, like fur.
Bringing back feather boas, or
yeah, there you go. That was the first thing I thought was feather boa. But, or this one. I mean, look at this jacket. I mean, this is just a really long, oversized jacket. I mean, you could do a Haiku 2 extremely long. You could do the Ikina long. I just think, and the ability to see that the wrong side or the other side of the fabric, I think those two patterns would be perfect for that.
And look at the shaping on that. You can just see like how it's not just lengthened. It also has kind of an oversized feel, the way it kind of bubbles out too. So that's where it's fun to kind of play with the interesting seam lines that we have in the patterns, and just the bigger shapes are the ones that swing out. There's just so much you can do to give volume in an unexpected way.
Mm-hmm. And then this one uses, I think, more traditional fabrics, but the way it was paired together, the way the binding, you know, trims everything, just makes it really modern. I think that one's
I wanted to show that on
beautiful.
Betsy's coat. Betsy did a cool binding. I don't know if that showed very well. She used a striped knit to finish the edges on her Chateau, which would have been much easier than whatever I tried to do. It's really cute.
All right. Do we want to take any questions now, or?
We've got some questions.
Okay, let's go for some questions and then we can show off the fabrics.
Cool.
The first question is, what is the difference between the Haiku 2 and the original pattern?
So the first pattern that came out was the Haiku, and it was this. So what's the difference between the Haiku 2 and the Haiku? And then actually even the digital pattern. We've had kind of 3 different versions of this pattern. But the original Haiku, when it first came out, was the long version like this with the pocket. It's lengthened. Though the pattern itself, the lapels turn to the right side. And for this project, we're turning the lapels to the wrong side. But that was the original Haiku. And then at some point, before my time, so I don't know what year it was, but we came out where we put the original Haiku and paired it with the shorter version. So took out the pockets and made it a shorter version. And so then the one that's out now also has both the versions. So that is the difference. So the longer version is the same. I believe we added some sizes, but other than that, I think that those are the only differences. So
if you had the original, you can use the original.
I think, yeah, you'd be just fine with the original. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What size Tremont are you wearing?
Good question. I believe
check
it's a
see if there's a
small.
Yep.
Okay,
that's a
so
small.
what size is the Tremont? It is a small.
And it's made out of Merchant Mills fabric, correct?
Yes, so the fabric of the Tremont it's a Merchant Mills quilted cotton. Well, it was actually, what was the actual term, Betsy? Because it wasn't quilted, it was a different,
Oh, I'd have to look it up.
we might have to look that up. But we have had this fabric on Facebook Live before. We've done a couple different promotions with this fabric. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to model the Kantha Coat that we use in all the promotions that we don't have?
So the Kantha Coat that we use in the promotions, it was a lengthened Tremont. And are we going to model it? No, because we realized that it's not actually our coat. And so we don't have it to show you. It's beautiful. I mean, it gives you a great example of what you can do with the Kantha cloth. A lengthened Tremont would be fantastic. As you can see in the pictures, it's stunning, but it wasn't our jacket to show you again.
Can someone put a Haiku on?
Yes.
Sure.
Do you want to try the shorter version on?
Sure.
So Briana's going to put on the shorter version of the Haiku 2. Cute. I'll do a little spin. There you go.
Yeah.
Can you add pockets to the Quincy Jacket?
Can you add pockets to the Quincy Jacket? So I assume that's the shorter version because we did add pockets to the longer one here.
Yeah, this one has the patch pockets.
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely room on the longer version to do, the patch pocket. Let's see. I think you could. I think you could add maybe a little pocket here if you wanted to do a seam pocket.
Could you do an inseam pocket on that front?
Right here.
Yeah.
I think you could do an inseam pocket right there. It wouldn't be
very deep because of the zipper, right?
It wouldn't be a very big pocket there though. So, but I think you could do it. So that would be where I would do it.
Briana, what size Berwick are you wearing?
Oh,
What size Berwick
what
is
size
Briana
Berwick am I wearing? I should have looked at that. I'm going to guess small, but Beth Werman, hi Mom.
She said hi,
Do you know what size you made? Maybe you could put it in the comments because I think I did the same size you did. And I think we went small on this one
Okay.
versus our usual small medium. Yeah, watch for Beth Werman's comment.
Nice.
Is the Memphis dress woven or knit?
The Memphis dress, I'm going to pull it out here. wherever it went.
Oh,
There it is. It's on display. So for the pattern, when we first put out the pattern, it was an all knit dress. But we have started to make it mixing the wovens. There we go. Mixing the wovens and the knits. We have a couple of them. I know Alex made one where she used, I think it was, using this side panel, do a woven in the side panel, or the bottom, this panel here. So I think you can mix it. When I've done it, I like to keep using knit in these front pieces here, just for ease. Same with the back. That way I just have nice ease in through the back, so I have movement in my arms, and through the bust. And I like to keep a knit on the sleeves for the same reason. But I know we have used woven in different places. But I think you just have to think about that. Pick and choose depending on how much ease you want throughout your bust and in your shoulders and sleeves.
Can you bring out your pink Chateau and put it on? And
Sure. So Briana is going to put on her Chateau in the Kantha cloth.
I was trying to decide in the mirror this morning if it works with this dress. I don't know. I feel like the patterns are maybe too much the same scale. I don't know if I would go for it. It's not hideous. It's just a lot.
It's stunning.
Together, though. It's just, I feel like I would be, I would do it if I wanted a fashion moment.
And we'll have to post, there's a picture of the two of us together. We'll have to post that, and Briana's in her coat. So Chateau, I remember I had these out so I could show you. We've had a couple people who have wanted us to show the patterns with.
Oh, that's a good idea.
With the garments. So.
Yeah. Your mom said a medium.
Oh, okay. So my dress, my mom responded that it's a medium, so there's a good chance it's a medium.
And,
sorry, I didn't look.
You added the pockets. Did they get top stitched to the front of the dress?
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, the question was, when I added the pockets, did they get top stitched to the front of the dress? No, they're hanging loose. They're just hidden inseam, loosey-goosey, adds to the ease. I think I didn't want that to show at all, so they're just loose. And they stay forward pretty well. They move around in there, but the fabric's loose enough I could see them flopping, but you press it well enough, they're gonna stay forward. Yeah.
Thanks.
How
Berwick.
did you finish the edges on your coat?
So the edges were the question was, how did I finish the edges on the coat? So some of this was how the blanket was already finished. It's like the two layers were tucked in and then stitched. So I remember that's how I used the edge here and at the bottom. So to finish the collar, for example, that had more shaping, I took apart a couple rows of stitching and just tucked everything in and kind of duplicated how it was done. So I did my own little running stitch along there and along the back, and just like visible knots, because that's how it was on the rest of this. So that's the only really edge that I had to finish. Everything else, like the cuff, I added in. I think the neckline was the only spot that I had to do that and try and just tuck it in on it. So.
And can you remind people what the orange jacket is?
So this orange jacket here is the Stafford, and we can show you the pattern cover. So this is the Stafford jacket. We traditionally make it Stafford jean jacket, so make it out of a denim. But we have made quite a few in a variety of different fabrics. So I think it would be great in some of the fabrics that we're going to show you next.
Before we do that, can someone put the striped Quincy on?
Striped short Quincy, is it over there? It's
Striped Quincy.
Is it the quilted one or this one here?
I think that one.
This one?
Oh yeah, that reads as stripes.
There you go.
That's funny. I don't think of it as stripes, but when you step back, it is.
Very nice.
Do we know how much shorter the short haiku is to the original?
Well, let's see. I believe these are both smalls. So let's see if we can make a judgment call here. I think we would have to get a measuring tape if you want an accurate measurement. This is kind of hanging up. 12 inches?
Gosh, yeah, I was gonna say between 10 and 12.
I think our guesstimate is 12 inches, but
And it's lengthened from this seam line down.
right.
Okay.
This is the same for both view A and view B.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
We need to talk about the garment on the dress form.
Oh,
we
here,
do.
train me.
Okay. All right. So another use of kind of pattern mixing we have here. This is the Bristol. Do you want to? So the Bristol is the same dress that I have on.
The pattern.
I was just gonna
Gotcha.
do the pattern.
Here we go.
So I have on the Bristol dress, and this is the Bristol top. And so this was one of our Sew Confidence that we did a couple years ago, and it's mixing. This is a knit, some sort of knit here, and then this is a printed knit that's been appliqued onto the center front here, and then it has a blanket stitch that's attaching the pieces to the front of the garment. But I just love this. Again, the black and white kind of treats itself as a neutral, and then you pair the print with it. And I think it's really fun. And this was just a kind of a random shape that we came up with. I'm trying to think of the inspiration of where that came from, but
I don't know, but I'm picturing this same treatment on a solid, and it would not work well.
I agree.
What makes this so cool is that you're doing the print on the print. Suddenly
agree,
it
I
has a
think.
really cool vibe.
right. I think it would stand out more. I think it's really interesting the way these two patterns play on each other. Yeah, I really like that. And we do have a tutorial on how you do this. Do you remember what it's called, Betsy, by chance? But we do have a tutorial. Like I said, we did it during Sew Confident, maybe 2017, I believe.
It's the Appliqued Bristol top.
Appliqued Bristol top. That makes complete sense. And then also, I know some people are always curious about this, but this is a rib binding on the neckline here, and then we used it on the cuffs and on the bottom. So, but that was a fun project. I think you could do this on t-shirts too. You could do it on the ET or a swing tee, or and you could use this type of shape in a different area. Like I think it'd be really neat to do something along the neckline, so you can really play with where that's placed too.
Very cool.
Again, pattern mixing.
I need that with some wide pants. Throw the jacket just over the shoulders.
There you go. Which is such a chic look.
Yeah.
I don't know how people keep them on their shoulders, but I think it's well true. Okay. Any other questions?
I think we do fabric.
Okay. All right.
And when you do the Kantha, will you show front and back, please?
Yes, we can do that, definitely. I'm going to move these out of the way here,
There, I can take those.
and then we can talk about fabrics. So we're going to start with the Kantha fabrics here.
Let me step over.
Let me get this out of the way, actually.
And you might just point out that they're not blankets, they are by the yard. That's been a question.
Okay, so these are the Kantha fabrics that we have. They are by the yard, so you buy these by the yard. So they're not a specific size necessarily. So we have 3 different prints, which is kind of tricky to see.
Yeah, it's hard
gonna-
to tell.
Maybe I can.
Oh, should we do kind of
drape.
bottom up? Like start from the bottom,
Yeah.
and then we can kind of go work our way
So
up.
this is the first one. I love the different mixing of colors here. Each one is so unique, and with this one has like peach and the background in peach and like kind of a bubblegum pink and yellow and blue and different scales of florals. Even like I love a black background with floral. So there's a lot of different really great colors. And then in this one, it's paired with kind of a butter yellow maybe color. Just a really great neutral, and it really shows off the stitching.
Yeah, I don't know if that reads very well on the camera, but it's like 3 lines of white and then 3 lines of a matching, we'll call it butter. So you can kind of get a striped visual just with the actual stitches as well.
So I think that's really neat. And one thing we did here on the wall is, so we have like, here's our jacket fabrics here, and then we paired it with maybe what you could do for a dress on the other side. So I think that these 2 pieces pair really well together. This is a tiny knit print, and it goes back to pairing the right scale. You know, some of these florals are a little bit larger, but there is some mix of some smaller prints. And then I thought it was nice to pair it with this tiny print.
Yeah, it's cute what it does, how it pulls out different colors. Because it's making my eye start to see different things that I wasn't before. Because before, I think my eye was picking up the more yellow and peachy stuff, and then you put this with it, and it really just changes what you see. That's beautiful.
And you might just say that they are pieced fabrics and double layered. They're not printed.
So these are pieced. So
They are.
like here's a block, here, you know, so they are pieced and then stitched together. So there's 2 layers. Sometimes you might see 2 or 3 layers on these Kantha quilts, but these are 2 layers. So here's one side with just the solid, and then the front is pieced.
So 2 just nice, worn, soft cotton layers. And I like that. The blanket that I worked with on my jacket was a little bit thicker, so it's a little bit more limiting in what you can really use it for. It almost had to be coat or jacket. And these, I just think you could have a lot of fun trying different ways. A really lightweight jacket. I just keep seeing fun pants too.
So this one here, this one has a great mix of kind of some more tropical florals here with some magenta and orange, and then pulling the magenta in again on this piece here, kind of a gray-blue background over here. And I mean, it really mixes together so many different kind of shades and hues. I think it's really neat what it, you know, maybe some fabrics that you wouldn't traditionally put together. But you can see how they're tied together though with the magenta, with the green. I think it's kind of, it just plays well together. I think it's really fun. And then this was interesting. I mean, trying to pair these fabrics with another print was an interesting process. But the minute I saw this piece here, I just loved the way the magenta and the blues played with this piece. I just love that.
Flows through more. Because you could even make the green your pop of choice.
Right.
But this one has more, I think, kind of more of a through line with the color combination of the blue and the pink together. That's cute.
All right, and then this top one, a little more neutral, kind of some really rich reds and black and kind of off-white. But then I love the pop of this bold kind of bubblegum pink. I think that's really fun. It just adds a little something extra to it, so it's not so neutral. I really like that. And then it has this soft kind of raspberry color on the other side. And then pairing it with this abstract print, I thought was really fun. And I liked this scale. I thought it was interesting how well this large scale went with this piece versus these looked really nice with a tiny print.
Yeah, it's the same idea. As long as you're kind of playing with large medium or tiny medium, it really balances out in a cool way. This would just be cute, as one of the tops underneath the jacket, but would be really striking as part of the Memphis dress too. You could piece that with other things too.
Right.
That'd be really cute.
And then these down here, these are not the Kantha. You know, these are just solid. These aren't pieced either. These have no piecing. It's just a print. But they remind me of a quilt. So I think that these are perfect for what we're talking about here. So these two pieces, we have the green version and we have the pink version down here. I just think these are great. These would be great jackets.
These, I am drawn to the bounce in the fabric. I just like how they just have a neat, like a textured, I don't know if that's really twill weave, but there's a little bit of a texture to it that gives it a little bit more oomph. That's not a real word, but I grew up with it, oomph. But it's just cool because I feel like you could line it if you wanted to, but you don't have to. And that one in particular, the Stafford jean jacket.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say
what we were playing with.
Quincy,
and thinking
but you're right. That was what we were talking about. Yeah, the Stafford would be really great in those fabrics. Mm-hmm. I think you could really play with the different size of the print.
Yep.
Because that's one thing to point out. So that one has, it's a paneled fabric, and it's a 27-inch panel. And so you can see the different scale of the diamonds. So this is a smaller scale, and then these are larger diamonds here. And so I think, right, so the panel goes from the smaller diamonds to the larger diamonds. And that's one panel. And then I think it really pairs well with these stripes. It's a black and blanking on what color that would be. Kind of a chestnut like brown
golden.
Kind of color, golden color. It just pairs really well with this piece here, and then a black and white textured knit on the bottom to go with the raspberry.
What was the jacket you were thinking? The Quincy?
I was thinking the Quincy would be really nice. Actually, a lengthened Quincy, but I would do a zipper. I think I would keep the zipper. That way this isn't so open and you can't see the wrong side. Yeah. But I just think it'd be really neat to see that print like all the way
so nicely
down.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. So those are the fabrics we have today. Any other questions?
Can we talk about what they're made of? Content.
Content, yes.
And then I might come closer.
Okay.
I need to come closer.
Okay, sure. Let's see. I'm gonna move this gal. She really needs a name. Okay. So Betsy's gonna get a close-up of all the different fabrics. So those are cotton. So the Kantha quilts, those are cotton. And let's see the content of these paneled pieces. So these paneled pieces are viscose and cotton.
And then what about the knits here?
So that is a rayon knit that she's showing right now. And then the one just below it, this diamond knit, is a polyester spandex blend. And then the next one is 100% cotton knit.
And I can't really.
And then the stripe below that is a rayon blend, rayon spandex. And then the one on the bottom is a polyester rayon and spandex. It's like a sweater knit. It has some thickness to it. The bottom one I thought would be really nice for a Bristol. I think the Bristol lends itself to using a thicker sweater knit or just a more stable, thicker knit. I think that works really well for the Bristol, especially when you're making the dress. So I think this would be beautiful.
It's a nice medium. It's not thick. It's not, I don't know, just kind of a nice, like a lightweight sweatshirt. Really lightweight. It's not hard. It doesn't have the fuzzy backing or anything, but
right.
That would feel really good.
I think. What? Oh yes, repeating the question. Can you wash the Kantha? I think just like any fabrics, I would test a piece of it to make sure you like the results. So we normally recommend taking a 4x4 square of any fabric that you buy and throwing it in the wash, throwing it in the dryer, and seeing if you like the results. It's cotton, so I would guess that it would wash. It would be fantastic. I think that'd be fine. But again, test it.
And can we see your dress without the jacket.
Yes.
Can you tell them what you're doing?
I am, I'm showing you my dress. So this is the Bristol dress, and it's made with mixing different, we have solid, print, stripe. So this is the Bristol dress straight out of the package.
Okay, and is the orange safford a linen?
This one here.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a silk matelassé, I believe. It's got beautiful texture.
Yeah.
It's probably really hard to see.
But it's not available.
It is not available. Sorry about that.
Well, I think that's all we've got.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And Betsy and I will be back next week. And we'll let you know later what it's going to be about. But it's going to be catered towards what Erin wears, what Betsy wears. And so I think it'll be a really great session. So thank you for joining us and have a good week. Thanks, Briana.
Thank you.